Shirley, are you ready for your Folkwise interview?
Ready as I'll ever be.
I actually don't know if any of this could have made you less ready than you are right now, because we've been all over the place. But hey, official Shirley interview. You may know Shirley from late nights playing Boyfriend Dungeon. You may know Shirley from when they were producer. That's what John Lohman called you, producer Shirley at live from AFS,
Oh
and
goodness, yeah.
Folkwise album now. And
Producing.
here comes
Don't think that.
Shirley's official interview. Shirley, when I met you, you were but baby undergrad, and now you are one of my dear folklore friends, and I'm so happy to be interviewing you on stream. Are you ready to get this interview started?
Let's go.
Okay, Shirley, now that you have more than a strict 2 minute timer, can you extrapolate more on a folkloristic perspective on adaptation and creative fiction?
Um, I guess.
Can, can I pause to explain for people who didn't see Folk Cited?
Sure.
Or do you actually? I will say, hey, Shirley, you already know this, but don't think me think the sleuth. See, Daisy, it is hard to remember. But Shirley, explain what happened at the end of the first Folk Cited stream. That I am giving you unlimited time to talk adaptation and creative fiction.
Yes. I think I whined about the fact I didn't bring up any of my notes, and then they were like, "But we had to end the stream," and so then they're like, "You know what? You have 2 minutes. Go." And then I talked about how all media is in a sense. What did I talk about? I talked about these things are just always in the background of my mind, so I forget what I've said out loud and
You
what
talked a
I've just
little.
thought to
You
myself.
as I said on stream, you accidentally got real Vladimir Prop in it when you talked about how all adaptation is subject to like sort of popular interpretations that are also happening and like its place in time and space.
True, true,
Yes.
true.
Correct. But it's very accurate, yes. I mean, a lot of things weave in my head. So, like, okay, so all at George Mason University, I was able to take a intro to literary translation class, and that just kind of blew my third eye wide open about a lot of stuff, specifically on how really adaptation is a translation of a work. And while translation tends to be thought of as very straightforward one to one, language and ideas don't work like that.
Mm.
So, um, there's a lot of essentially any work that is any work you read in translation essentially has two authors that you are reading about,
Mm-hmm.
because it's not only the author who originally penned it, it is then also the interpretation adaptation of what the translator then read from that work. The ideas a translator has to both balance like the ideas presented and how they interpret them.
Yeah.
And in order to, especially for like what is the most important parts to preserve from this work, and what do you want to in a sense highlight through your translation, especially when you get it comes up a lot when you're translating poetry, because like using Dante's Inferno, Paradiso, Purgatorio stuff, the form that it is written in is almost impossible to exactly replicate into English just because of how the languages are different. Like the
Mm.
cantos, the scheme of the cantos, there's not enough words in the English language that end in the right sounds to perfectly translate it, let alone carry the same meaning.
Huh.
And so anyone who translates those three works of Dante's has to decide a lot of, like, I mean, to an extent, but how much the form of the poem interprets the meaning of it and what elements to keep of from each. Um, so that's always fun. And basically the same thing happens in adaptation too. You, I guess the most easiest to identify adaptation is like from book to screen.
Mm-hmm.
Any sort of movie adaptation of a book series or singular book. There are certain things that you cannot directly translate into, but there's also like film has its own language too, and so how things get moved around depends a lot on what the scriptwriter, what the director is looking for, um how the actors interpret a character, and whether or not that interpretation is based solely on the materials they were given in context of the movie, or whether they also have knowledge of the source material. Um, I mean, The Witcher is kind of the direct example if you wanted to go that, but
Yeah.
also for topicalness, the Percy Jackson series, when that was adapted into a movie, a lot of fans were very upset, for very good reason. What they like, I mean, there's certain things were changed that kind of make sense. Like, the characters are definitely aged up, and like on a broad marketing sense, that makes sense. But also, so much of the story is based off of the timeline of how old they are because it's a prophecy and it's time based, and it's like,
Mm.
if once they reach 16, but they already look 16, so like, how are they going to fit all of that in if they're only like 15 now, sort of thing. And the superficial things also, like hair color, like people would complain that the actress who played Annabeth, who is the main female lead, his hair color was wrong because she's blonde in the books and brunette in the first movie, at least. And I mean, I personally feel like, broadly speaking, such changes like that don't matter as much. Um, but sometimes they do. Uh,
Hmm.
so that's always fun. Um, and like in the second one, they changed it to blonde again, but it was also still a bad movie. But a lot of the issues, a lot of the pushback was what they changed the story. For those of you who are not familiar with the Percy Jackson series, it in and of itself, just as a book series, is not really an adaptation, but taking the idea of the Greek pantheon is and all how many of the myths are like centered around them sleeping with mortals and producing offspring. And the idea that they might not be worshipped as much anymore, but they're keeping on, and so their kids have somewhere to go, and it's like a camp situation, and there's a whole prophecy. It's very fun. Um, and the first book of the series is called The Lightning Thief because the main plot tension involves someone has stolen Zeus's thunderbolt, and the movie like most series, the first movie adapts the first book, which is already a lot of information to put into one movie. Um, because it's really hard to fit an entire novel's worth of information into a movie and without cutting some stuff out. And so what is cut is, in one sense, an interpretation. But also, the movie did something kind of dumb, is they changed who the thief was.
Oh, oh, oh.
Yes. They
Wow.
changed who the thief was, which then actually kind of would like, I don't know if they were just going if they just did it for I don't know why they did it. I haven't seen that movie in ages. Excuse me, I haven't read the book series in ages. I don't have an on-hand analysis of why they may have decided these things, but they changed who the thief was. And the way that they did it kind of would have made it hard for them to then go on and adapt the rest of the series
Hmm.
without it having, you know, domino effect repercussions on how they handled that. And so right from the get go, I was kind of confused as to what was going on. Um,
Ain't that just the way?
yeah. So, so that's an example. And what are they talking about? Oh, we're just talking about proper adaptation.
Hmm.
So yeah. So I think I like adaptation in general. Because like, I mean, in the I guess when you're talking about folklore in general, your first thought would be like there's definitely a rise of fairy tale adaptations into especially YA novels.
Hmm.
Um, it's also going back to Greek mythology. There is also there's a lot of Hades and Persephone retellings are out there. Especially
Oh yeah.
nowadays. They've
Oh
definitely
yeah.
grown in popularity. And it's very interesting to see the tides of things turning. Because if you look into Greek mythology and its literary history, is so like the darker take about like, the whole kidnapping
Hmm.
thing. That tends to be altered in modern retellings, but also where that comes from is Ovid's Metamorphosis. And the Metamorphosis actually is also subject to that kind of adaptational interpretation
certainly.
because Ovid was like, I don't remember the exact details, but basically the government didn't like him, and so he didn't like the government. And a lot of his
as a classicist, I could say that's correct. Yes.
and his tellings of the myths are definitely influenced by that. He frames the gods as a lot more capricious and cruel than they necessarily were in other tellings of the myth. That's where, if you're familiar with the myth about Athena and Arachne, that's the one where it's like, oh, you're better than me, I'm going to turn you into a spider, poof. But in earlier found versions of the myth, it tends to be more of a, oh, the thing you weaved is, is like technically speaking on par. Like the work itself is on par with mine or something, or better, or what have you. But the issue I have is what you weave does not take into audience an account, and so I'm going to punish you for your hubris. Why are you making fun of my family? Go be a spider. Or I'm paraphrasing, definitely.
Yeah.
And so, in a similar vein, the Hades and Persephone myth. Well, first off, there's a cultural context into the idea of where functionally the woman didn't have much of a say. It was the dad who got to say, and in this context, it was Zeus who was like, "Yeah, you can marry her. That's fine." And so like that in the original cultural context, that particular fact would not necessarily have been as shocking as to modern day not
Audience.
proclivities.
Oh.
Yeah, to a modern day audience. Sensibilities. That's what I was looking for.
Yes.
Yes, it would not have been as shocking in a modern day to a yes. But then also like if the hymn to Demeter, where we get a lot of this myth from in its earliest form, it places a lot of the blame on Zeus almost explicitly, and it also doesn't describe anything. It's not like it doesn't seem like a trappy kind of thing. Like I mean, depending on how you interpret it, he's like sort of like, yeah, go tell your mom everything's cool, and like the pomegranate thing can be very easily interpreted either way as to whether or not like I'm making the conscious decision to make this my home versus like, oh hey, just in case. Yeah, like, and so a lot of retellings play with that and the agency in that. And then there's a lot of things I could talk about that dynamic in general across religion and mythologies. But I feel like I'm losing I'm losing the plot a little bit.
I think you actually got to the best part of that, which is about like the performative context of catering to a certain audience sensibility differs. Like, is a part of the variant of telling a story.
Yeah, because there's also, and recently, semi-recently at least, there's been this push towards reinterpreting Medusa as more of like a protector figure, which is interesting in and of itself because in early forms of the myth, Medusa was just a Gorgon. Like that was what she was born as. But then there is, I don't remember exactly, it might have been Ovid, I don't remember exactly. Then there's like the myth about her getting, assaulted by Poseidon in Athena's temple and then gets turned into a Gorgon. And it's like, oh, is that punishing the victim for something that they had no control over? Or is it she was actually doing her a solid because now she turns men to stone, so she's being so it's actually a girl boss move.
Yeah.
And then also like
girl boss Medusa is a total take that happens a lot these days. Yeah.
Yeah. But then it's also like
gaslight Gorgon.
Basically. And then that got reinterpreted into like fake mythology about her, like about it like protective temples and stuff. But it's also like that wasn't a myth that would have been passed around back then. That's a lot more of a modern reading or a modern retelling, and so that's something to keep aware of too. But yeah.
Shirley, I think those were great answers, and you're absolutely speaking my language, taking it back to Ovid. That's like how I got to folklore, like folkloristics.
I know everybody's loving the Greek theater 101 class.
Yes.
In the
Oh, yeah.
chat.
Your Greek folklore
People are
theater
loving it.
class that you're going
People
to
are loving
teach
it.
is going to be great.
Listen, I think also shout out to Donnie for bringing up Mythomania, the OG
Yeah.
reinterpretation of the. Listen, love that series.
That was like your Scholastic Book Fair series.
It really was. As any undiagnosed neurodivergent baby queer with a lot of issues up here. I was really into Greek
Except for
mythology.
your eyebrows, you've got great brows.
Oh, thank you.
I
So
assume
true.
you always have.
So true. So true.
I was really into Greek mythology and very specifically got weirdly attached to Hades for like no reason.
Huh.
Probably just a general sense of I feel like he is unfairly maligned for just doing his damn job.
Yeah.
So anyway, Hades Apollo. And so the Mythomania series, for those of you who are not familiar, because basically no one is, and I don't want to spoil too much because there may be a folkwise thing eventually happening around it.
Yes.
But functionally, it is the Greek myths retold, but this time Hades is the one telling them.
Hell yeah. Enough of my dumb jock brother Zeus. Shirley, I'm gonna read you a sentence real quick. That
fun.
I hope you recognize.
Goody.
Like in real life, many people will enter the cycle and then eventually leave. But no matter who the players are, the sunrise, sunset, life, death, destruction, and creation will always continue. Do you recognize this sentence?
I don't.
This is from your term paper about Night at the Museum. Can you explain how Night at the Museum made you a folklorist?
I forgot I said Caitlin that shit.
Caitlin didn't. Caitlin didn't forget that.
We were crying when we discovered this.
I've been holding on to that for so long.
Like, what weird things have Shirley sent me? So that term paper was I guess what I would call my first folklore class, even if it wasn't folklore. It was the official title. This was at Nova before I went to Mason. This was pre-Mason. And it was to fulfill an English requirement, and it was mythological literature. And so we talked a lot about like the broad stroke symbolism that come up in myths. And I mean, a lot of what drew me to folklore specifically was mythologies. I've always found them fascinating. I remember the first day we went like around the room and talked about like, well, why did you choose this class? Even like you're fulfilling a requirement, but why this class instead of another class? And blah blah blah. And I just feel like, hey, I had some excellent professors at Nova. Don't like listen. I had a creative writing class with Robert Bausch, which got me into the creative writing program without any sort of interview. So anyway, what was I saying? I got distracted by Carrie bashing Nova.
You were talking about mythologies
Yes, I love
something that
mythologies.
attracted you to folkloristics.
Yeah, I mean, I guess thinking back on it, my reasoning for liking religion and mythology, it also very easily feeds into why I love folklore so much, because that I found that studying like the myths that form a culture can explain a lot about that culture. And in general, like studying the folklore of a culture can explain a lot about that culture. You can see, like, you can trace, like, I don't like tracing it back, but like you see where the foundations are. You see the stepping stones that even people in that culture may not immediately recognize because they're so commonplace.
Foundation is the good word, yeah.
Yeah, they may not think to say, "Oh, this happens because of this cultural phenomenon," but they're just sort of like, "Well, that's what always happens." And I just like mythology in particular because then it also, cool stuff happens in there, and it's fun to explore. And so then I took that class, and around that same time during that semester, I also got really into Night at the Museum. Yes, the movie series. There's 3 of them. The Night at the Museum trilogy, actually, which is fun to say because
Which
that
is
makes
what
it
the
sound
paper was
fancier.
about. I misspoke. Yes.
Yes, that was what the paper was about. But I don't remember. Excuse me. I don't remember what the exact assignment was, but it was basically like find a media and talk about it using the stuff we've discussed, that kind of thing. And all I could think about at that point was basically Night at the Museum.
Inexplicably, the only thing you could think of. Pretty much
Listen,
Night at the Museum and breathing.
I do not control the hyperfixation, okay?
Oh my
Listen,
god. Oh my
listen,
god.
listen. Have you seen Rami Malek in that costume?
I
forgot
to.
Anyway, so yes. So then I just talked about a lot of the themes. I haven't read it in ages, so I don't remember what I brought up. I don't remember what we were discussing in
Life
class.
cycles.
Yeah, clearly there was some sort of cyclical nature of it. I think I ended up focusing on Larry a lot more than I necessarily assumed I would. I mean, also when you're talking about the cyclical nature of things, that definitely very easily relates to the ancient Egyptian cosmos. Basically all of their mythology is about things rotating in cycles, which makes definite sense when you talk about how their entire way of life was so dependent on the regular flooding of the Nile. Oh god, if you fuck, it's almost a fucking trip. But if you wanna, there's with the sun god Ra's bark. It's that whole beat by beat, every single hour something crazy is happening at night. You can just look oh, it is 2:00, and Ra is the sunbark is getting turned into a snake so it can fight another snake. It's amazing, absolutely. So yeah, and of course that definitely ties into the whole mythology and story behind Night at the Museum and stuff like that, which actually is pretty fast. I don't know. I think it's fun. It's especially when they get into the sequels and they expand on Ahmed Ra's family and then just sort of examining the dynamics and the idea that in the third it's revealed that the reason that the tablet brings all the stuff in the museum to life every night is because his Ahmed Ra's dad, Pharaoh at the time, had one of the priests use bless it with the magic of Kansu to make it do that, and they put it in their tube. The idea was they put it in their tube so that they would then, be able to still be together even after death, which is fascinating in a sense because it fits very well with Egyptian mythology and the idea of the afterlife, but yet also betrays the fact that technically his dad didn't really believe in it because he made a physical workaround. because in general, one would assume oh, when I die, you preserve your body, and then in the afterlife, you're going to basically live the same life you did before. But this was basically him saying I don't trust like that. I'm just gonna make sure my literal physical body gets up every night,
That is pretty
and my
interesting.
loved ones, except my other son. I don't think that'll come back to bite me in the ass at all. But yeah.
Well, I need to rewatch the one I've seen and watch the other 2 now. You actually really sold me on Night at the Museum.
Yeah,
Shirley,
oh
I
god.
gotta.
Okay. Also, this Night at the Museum 3 is also what got me into Arthurian legend. I will admit that as well.
And
there's layers there too.
Having never seen it, I'm gonna assume King Arthur's not in it, and your brain just went on a really fun, cool tangent.
Lancelot's in it.
Oh, okay.
And I didn't care.
Fair.
But also the I don't know how on purpose this was because I'm pretty sure they just chose Lancelot because he you could really see Dan Stevens in that role, and also because he's just a very identifiable member of King Arthur's court.
Yeah.
Even though he came out, even it all ties back to adaptation. Because Lancelot was actually a late addition to the legends. When you get the French stuff in there, that influences the English stuff, and then he's also somehow the central thing. But basically, in the third movie, Lancelot doesn't understand. Lancelot is basically just a random suit of armor that then is apparently Lancelot also. but he also doesn't realize that he somehow has the memories of the legends, which is must be a trip and a half in that brain based on how many different versions there are.
Oh yeah.
But also doesn't recognize the fact that he is actually a wax figure in a museum, and then then eventually finds out, and that existential crisis actually weirdly fits with Lancelot's character in a lot of the legend cycles. Um, and yeah, anyway, I don't know if that was on purpose or if I just think a lot about these dumb movies.
I think in my experience being around folklorists, especially picking a dissertation, a lot of people just care a lot about one dumb thing, and it ends up being like a work of scholarship that is unique to them. So, go little rock star, go! I would say, Shirley.
Thank you.
Tell the chat. I know you've plugged it on stream before, but what was your role in the vampires zine Carpe Noctem, and how did your training in folklore help with
Nice.
that?
Oh, fun. So Carpe Noctem, the Kickstarter has ended. We're in a process right now.
Ooh,
All the mods have personal stuff.
we are in a
Um,
situation.
we are in a situation. I mean, you can still support it and stuff. We're going to have a leftover sale. We're just doing some behind the scenes work right now, mostly. Everything is happening. Basically, how this all got started is uh season 2 of What We Do in the Shadows had come out. I think it had ended by the time I pinged on it, because I think what pinged me on it was all the hubbub about the final episode. So then I was able to watch it straight through, which is great.
Hmm.
And basically, once again, I do not control the hyperfixation. And all I could think about was What We Do in the Shadows for a while.
It's my
um,
sleepover, and I get to pick the movie.
basically. Oh, that time. Okay, sidebar. One time
Oh
I
my
had
god, yes.
one time I had an appendectomy. And it was kind of the timing. One time I had an appendectomy, and after I got out of the hospital, basic there were some things that it was like I was going to hang out with friends, and then instead I went to the ER. And so after I had mostly recovered, we had a Shirley Didn't Die party. That also doubled as
So what?
we had a Shirley Didn't Die party.
Quick way to justify having a party every day of your life.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Hey, who wants to have a Shirley Didn't Die party tomorrow? When
Me.
they successfully complete the interview.
Wait, there was at some point we had a Shirley Didn't Die party to Electric Boogaloo. That was when I got over COVID. Yes. Anyway, the first Shirley Didn't Die party was after my appendectomy. Because before, when I was first learning to feel sick, there was a few times where it was sort of like, oh, let's hang out with friends. Like literally, one of my friends texted me like the day I started feeling bad. And I was like, my stomach kind of hurts. Like maybe later. And then 2 days later, I was in the ER. So there's a little bit of let's just hang out. This was the first time I got in any surgery, any anesthesia. It was also a great. It was a sequel. Sorry, I noticed chat. Yeah, when I
Death Loris is demanding crab rave for a Shirley Didn't Die party.
yeah. So anyway, the first Shirley Didn't Die party, they all came up, friends, not all my friends, but enough friends. I don't have that many. At least not at the time. Um, basically, we're all in the living room, and I made everyone watch Steven Universe. Anyway, it was my I Didn't Die party, and I get to choose the emotional the TV show. Yes, cool beans.
Vampire Zine.
Vampire Zine. So anyway, as Vampire Zine. So basically, I was constantly thinking about What We Do in the Shadows and vampires in general. Vampires have always been a thing I'm into. And meanwhile, one of my friends, who is one of my high school friend group chat, which was most of the friends that also came to the Shirley Didn't Die party. Fun fact. Well, I was based my one of my friends, Saliha, was doing a lot of zines at the time. A lot, too much on her plate kind of thing.
Mhm.
A little bit. But like, and I was kind of in that weird phase of like, we were in, did. Sorry, I got
Shirley, you
distracted.
can't keep reading chat if it's going to make you laugh this much.
I just saw a lot of emotes. I was like, what the hell's happening? Where was I? Anyway, so
Your friend had too much on their plate.
yes, they were doing a lot of zines, and I thought zines were interesting, and I was trying to kind of be like, I wonder how you would get into zines, because at the time, other than What We Do in the Shadows, I think I'd kind of phased out of like the intense, specific What We Do in the Shadows-ness, because I was on meds at that point in my life, so I wasn't quite hyper focusing as much. Um, I had other coping mechanisms to deal with. Um, and kind of like, so I wasn't like as intensely into a fandom that was like making zines, and I couldn't really I write fan fiction. I don't post a lot of fan fiction.
Mhm.
Because I never finish shit unless there's a deadline. Uh And so I didn't have like a portfolio of work for even for fandoms I did. But I was trying to figure out how to get into zines. I thought it would be fun, and I kind of missed being in a literary journal in high school, and seemed kind of similar. And I think one day out of the blue, I was like, "We should start a vampire zine," and my friends were like, "Hold up, that's a good idea." And then we talked about it in the chat for a while, and then I made a Discord about it, and then we did an interest survey, and then we got another mod, and then things happened, and people got excited, and we settled on a theme because like vampires is a bit too broad, so we did vampires throughout history. So it's basically from history till early 2000s. Um, you were there, Donnie. You were there at the Shirley Didn't Die
Shirley,
party.
you can't keep reading chat.
Stop!
Sure, you're being a really good late night mod, but you know what? It's not late night,
You're
and
not
you don't
the
get to be the
mod.
mod.
You're not
you get
the
to be the center. You're on stage.
They're too
So
good of a
anyway,
mod, people.
so basically, so officially, I am one of the mods. I guess technically speaking, it was my original idea, was the seed of it.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of helped out with social media at first, and then shenanigans happened. The official title is shipping mod. So functionally, right now, um, doing like ordering stuff, and then my job's really gonna kick into high gear once we actually get the physical items and start packaging them up.
Yeah,
So yes.
that's so exciting, though. The physical items. And as the person who organized Folkwise merch, you would know.
Yes. That was where I got studying to prep for that, and the fact that I worked at an Amazon facility for like 8 months handling packages,
Mm-hmm.
and then that plus preparing for that role with the zine, and then taking on shipping duties at work because of that, then prepped me. That's why I had all this on-hand information
Sure.
when we started talking about merch. And I was like, "Give me stickers." So yes.
Hey Daisy, what do you think? These funsy questions, or ask this one up here?
Excuse me.
I'm cutting that. I'm cutting that for YouTube.
I think you should leave it in, dog.
Okay, we're leaving that in YouTube. Enjoy that. Daisy, where do you think we should go next?
I think. Wow, I would like. Oh my god, okay, what's our time? Okay, I think we should do a couple funsy questions, and then I think we should play our game.
Okay.
Because the game is going to be very good, and we have to play the game.
Yes, we do. We do have to. And this is a big
I'm gonna
funsy
ask
question,
you
but I
our-
want you to go on the record. Or what was that, Daisy?
I'm going to ask Shirley the other question later, because I think it's something we could really make some brain chemistry happen with them.
Ooh, make some brain chemistry. All right, Shirley, are you
I'm
ready for
getting
the
so
most?
hyped for this.
Are you ready for the most
Get to
important
rub
question
my-
you're ever going to be asked?
Get to rub my two brain cells together. Sure.
Shirley, is supernatural bad?
Yes.
Explain.
Explain. Has it always been? Was it always bad? Was the show
Yes.
Supernatural always bad, or did that happen in season 40 or something?
Oh no.
It has always been bad, and the particular aspect of bad it has changed throughout the years. Um,
Sorry, James clipped the burp.
James clipped the burp.
anyway,
All right, that lives on Twitch forever. Thank you.
so like, early Supernatural was a very different can of worms, and while I do feel like objectively and subjectively it was kind of always bad, didn't mean it wasn't always enjoyable. Like, the especially first season was a lot more horror oriented, which was definitely interesting. Um and there's a lot of storytelling beats that were not necessarily thought through. Through its entire run, the show has had issues with killing off women, killing off people of color when they had them. Um
Jeez.
so there's like a lot of like deeper systemic issues.
Mhm.
Some of the myths and folklore that they pulled from were not always handled the best. Also, there's definitely some part, like, I mean, I was into its heyday. I was in the Supernatural fandom. I was never quite super Hulock because I was never quite that into Sherlock. Um, Never really vibed with that. Um, but like there were aspects like it was always bad, but sometimes it was like, this is my trash. I'm going to play in the trash pile.
Mhm.
I cannot morally recommend this to you, but that does not mean I don't enjoy playing in the trash pile.
That's raccoon energy.
Yeah, very, very. A lot of the Supernatural fandom, very raccoon. A lot of fandom, especially for like objectively bad media, is very raccoon energy. It's very much like, objectively, I know this is bad, but something about this.
Yeah.
Either it's one character, um, talking like with fan fiction. There's like a bell curve. There's the people who want to do fan fiction and engage in fan acts because they love the show, they want more of it, they just are creating their own content because they want to consume content. And then there's fans who are like, this is horrendous, I must fix it.
Yeah.
When you care, there's like, when it's so bad that you want to just ignore it, and then there's it's so bad I want to fix you. I want to stick my little hands in the trash pile and pull out the little bits that bring me joy and then create a whole new setting for them to be in. Um so yeah, Supernatural has a lot of problems. I I rage quit Supernatural in season 8 and then just kind of vaguely kept up with the characters I kind of cared about. That's also why I kind of rage quit. And then 15 happened, and then 16 happened, the ARG,
It's so
and
many
then
seasons.
I think technically we're in 17 now.
Oh,
'Cause
16 to ARG is that you are describing the phenomenon of the show ending and people being like, but that was bad and I want to fix it. And they kept going thinking there were new episodes happening in secret, correct?
No,
Oh, God.
that was no, the secret good episode was a Sherlock thing.
The,
When I
the,
refer to
sorry, go.
I refer to the season 16 ARG, it is the drama and shenanigans surrounding technically fallout of
Yeah.
the season 15 finale, the series finale. It
That's like the
was
secret Italian gay confession or whatever, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
they're gay but only in Spanish. And then like all
Only in
the
the Spanish dub.
actor
Yeah.
yeah, and then like all the weird like actor drama that happened, and then like you would hear random news about it. That with people still following, and the people who tuned in when the trash fire fully started going. It was always like a low simmering trash fire in the bottom of the dumpster, and then it eventually hit just excellent that one excellent igniter, and then it just the entire thing. Um, and so And so both the people who were already in the dumpster and those who turned to watch once the flames started to reach the ceiling were then watching season 16, which was essentially the fallout and reactions to what the hell was going on.
The actors, etc., going nuts in real life.
Yes.
I kind of really like this point you made, though, that Supernatural was always bad, and sometimes it's more fun to be in a fandom when it's not good. And as a Song of Ice and Fire Game of Thrones people, you were describing to me the Reddit, the Free Folk, which really popped off in the bad seasons, making like everyone making fun of how much they hated the last seasons and how many people came together over mutual disgust at something. And that was like kind of the peak of the fandom, was the mutual disgust era.
Oh yeah, the final season Fix It Fic was a thing.
Yeah. I'm familiar with that. Thank you for being just like my point of access into Supernatural, because I'm never going to watch it because I won't stop myself from watching all 15 seasons. So I would rather just listen to you talk about it. And Having Fung in the chat points out this is also true for Grateful Dead fans.
Yes.
Shirley, Oh, sorry.
Yeah, okay. I was going to say I had real issues with... That's a whole other... Never mind. Continue. Go on.
Well, I was about to say, that behind the scenes we sometimes like to end the interviews with a request to grab a cat so we can get the tier list up. So where's the smelly little fat old man?
Oh my god.
Show me smelly little fat old man.
Where's the smelly fat old man?
Where's the smelly little fat old man?
I think they're asleep on the couch. Which is
tell us about...
You gonna break cat law?
Tell us about your
cats.
Cat law no, right you can just tell us about the cats.
Oh. Do you want me to tell you? Do you want me to grab them? Do you want me... What's happening?
James Bell says, wake it up!
Wake it up?
Wake up the smelly little fat man.
Wake up the smelly little fat man? I have two cats, Tom. It's not just smelly little fat man.
But...
Well, who's the other one?
I love that you call one of your cats a smelly little fat man.
He's my stinky little butt boy.
See, it's adorable.
Ice says to break cat law.
Chat wants you to break cat law and find cat. Chat wants you to...
Should I... Donnie, will you fetch the cats for me?
Oh, yeah. Hello, Donnie, who can totally hear you hit the wall in surprise when we asked the Night of the Museum question.
Oh, yeah. That's literally the wall our bedroom share, too.
Death Wars gives 300 bits and says, I want smelly fat man.
Listen, this smelly old man. He's not the fat one.
We've combined them in our cosmic
the two cats
universe.
into one
yeah,
entity.
Exactly.
Anyway, my two cats.
Go ahead.
No, my two cats are Gibson and Kathy. There are both. They are asleep on the couch.
Donnie, grab them. Grab them both, one in each arm.
Dual wield.
Like bales of hay.
Yes.
Dual wield. Gibson is around 11 years old at this point. He has some issues, especially digestive issues, which is why he is the smelly old man.
Smelly old man.
He has been to the ER twice for constipation. So now he is on special cat food.
My man needs roughage.
Yeah.
Oh man, he is on. Yeah, and Kathy is the first cat that I've had from kittenhood that I have memory of. Technically, my first cat. Oh my goodness, actually, technically my first cat I've also had since she was a kitten, because we found her in the backyard after a hurricane.
Oh my god!
That's my first
nails,
kitty cat.
Beautiful nails.
Yeah. Oh, thank you.
Donnie says, I don't want to wake them.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
That's okay. Pics are good. Pics are good.
They're in the Pets of Folkware's video. Just go watch that.
That's true.
Yeah, watch Pets of Folkwise. That's on our YouTube channel.
Yeah. And Kathy, we got from a friend of a friend, like a legend.
Whoa.
We got from a friend of a friend who found a pregnant mama in her backyard. Mama helped mama have kittens, got all the kittens taken care of, and then distributed out through channels. Mama is now a happy neutered barn cat. living her best life, and we have our little sassy boy, Kathy, who's amazing. He's all black except for like a little triangle stripe near his, no square.
I haven't heard it referred to that in a while.
Yeah.
Yes.
Gibson is also all black, but he has a little tuft on his chest.
Yes.
Oh,
Looks like he's got his shirt open.
Little tuxedo.
Yeah, a little bit. So yeah, Kathy is great, and adorable. His full name is Mullikath. We call him Kathy for short. It confuses everyone.
I
It's
thought it
also
was short
a
for
great
Catherine,
litmus test.
but why not a guy named Catherine? Be a last name.
Fair.
I always assumed it was a last name.
Calling him Kathy is a great litmus test for people's reactions, which is cool. My friend's dad also calls him Big Chungus.
No.
We can't talk about this.
We can't relitigate if Big Chungus is a cat or a rabbit. We cannot. No. Okay. Daisy, do you want to do the honors at this point?
I would love to. Shirley, you know what we do here. Where we play some games together. Have you ever made a tier list?
Not officially, no. But I'm very excited. I'm excited to see what my government assigned tier list is.
Well,
You've documented an influenced tier list.
Yes.
And that was at AFS, in which Dom made a tier list about Pocky. We also discovered a very important, I will say, I want to say dark secret that you have.
It's not a dark secret.
Maybe it's not. Maybe it's not a dark secret. Oh, ice! Don't even start ice in the chat right now. It is not a dark secret, but it is in fact something that you do consume all day, every day, at all hours of the day, and that is Mountain Dew. For those who don't know what a tier list is, or who has never seen our show before and are coming on for the first time, a tier list is something that comes from fighting games, but it got really popular on Twitch because it's a way to rank everyday items and things in our life. And so, of course, we had to give Shirley a Mountain Dew flavors tier list.
Very much.
I see. I was wondering if it was going to be Mountain Dew flavors or Tumblr posts.
It's Mountain Dew flavors.
It's Mountain
Dew flavors.
You know it's the Dew. You know it's the Dew.
Oh. I think
Shirley,
can you disappointing. I don't drink that many different flavors.
Well, this will be good. The chat loves a bottom-heavy tier list.
Yeah, tell us a little bit about your Dew consumption as you rank these special flavors.
I'm really this tier list. What Mountain Dew is amazing. So Mountain Dew is
the proletariat
how to
soda.
explain Mountain Dew. It is a proletariat soda. It is named after a nickname for moonshine, aka untaxed alcohol, often made and distilled in the Appalachian region. I probably pronounced that wrong. Caitlin's gonna yell at me later.
No, you did If you say Appalachia, I'll throw an Appalachia. That's how you do it.
Oh, okay, cool. I guess I am technically from there, but processing. Yeah, Mountain Dew. Listen,
God.
growing up, my mom would drink Mountain Dew all the time, and specifically Diet Mountain Dew. She would drink Diet Mountain Dew because her mom was diabetic, so they only had diet sodas in the house.
Oh, sure.
And then mom wasn't diabetic, but still drank Diet Mountain Dew, and I then ended up drinking Diet Mountain Dew, and even now I still drink too much of it, especially all the time.
Two important notes from
Dulor. And so anyway,
two important notes from chat. One is Bubbly Like Soda says, does it include that purple one that existed back in like 2003?
Yes, we're getting there.
We're getting there. And then also there's a Donnie Shields, who I'm prioritizing in this conversation. It says there's an orange Mountain Dew, so I think we should jump right in.
Let's jump right into it. The first one is the Orange Mountain Dew, aka Live Wire.
Oh, have I had this one? Orange Mountain Dew Live Wire. What notes does it add?
It adds orange, Like the citrus fruit orange.
It
but
adds
also the
orange to
color.
a citrus soda.
What notes does the Shirley is a refined Dew drinker.
Listen.
True.
Mountain Dew is a citrus soda. It was once described as I was once told it was supposed to be grapefruit flavored. I think that was a lie. I think it's just Mountain Dew flavored.
I always thought it
I
was
don't think it's
lime.
supposed to imitate anything in nature. It was originally formulated as a mixer, so there's that. I don't think it's supposed to be its own thing, but it ended up being its own thing, and then was later marketed towards. Mountain Dew is also be appropriating gamer culture, which is fun. Anyway, I have genuinely never had it. I'm not a big fan of orange. In general. Let's just put it in C for the sake of it.
I like it. Okay. I'll save Classic Dew for the end. The next one is the KFC exclusive Mountain Dew Sweet Lightning.
I've never had that
Peach
before.
and honey.
I did not know
Peach
KFC.
and honey.
Peach and honey. I feel like that could go very well or very bad.
I'll have you know for some reason this goes ACFD, but I'm gonna keep it.
Just noticed that.
That's hilarious. Fun, cool. Literally same.
There we go.
Okay.
It's
No
fitting.
Whoa, what
No
happened?
B.
Oh, okay.
No B.
I was like, how went dark?
No B.
Where are we putting this?
I don't think I've had most of these sodas.
We can leave that off the list, but you can
don't
also go by
know.
vibes. You can also go by vibes.
Yeah. It's what you make
I
it.
could go by vibes. I mean, the peach makes me. I'd put it in B if it existed.
Well, I guess that means top of C.
I'm doing this for you.
C and the B.
Okay.
That makes sense.
Sure.
This next one, the chat has been clamoring for it, and that is Pitch Black.
I mean, the vibes are immaculate.
The vibes are immaculate.
What's supposed to be? What note is it supposed to have?
Oh, I think it's just supposed to be like lemon, but it looks
Dark
like
lemon.
like an ebon
edgy.
citadel.
Oh, it's purely aesthetic.
Yeah.
Yes, edgy.
Is it purely cool?
I think so.
Let's based on vibes alone, let's put it in A.
Yeah, hell yeah. If you're going on vibes alone, I'm interested in this next one, and this is the 4th of July exclusive Mountain Dew Liberty Brew.
Liberty Brew.
Okay, listen. I actually have had this one. I don't know what it is. Like, literally, the idea behind a lot of the 4th of July is they just literally mix up their red, white, and blue already created Mountain Dews.
This one is supposed to be 50
that was the
flavors.
purple one that happened
This
one
is
time.
50 flavors.
I don't know what it is.
Flavors.
Something about the 4th of July specials with Mountain Dew, they always slap.
Well, how is this
I
S for
always make
slap
sure to
or
get
A
one.
for it slaps?
It's
So, based on the fact that I've actually tasted it, it goes into S tier.
Ooh,
yeah.
S for slapperoonies, baby.
Oh my God.
Next up, if you remember the fairy tellers.
It's not vibes, it's flavor.
It's flavor, and it slaps.
Flavor.
Shirley, if you remember the fairy tellers episode when Jeff said his favorite mixed soda was Baja Blast mixed with Baja Blast, we've got Baja Blast.
You want to know a dark secret that I think I've already told you guys?
Never had Baja Blast.
Wait.
Never had Baja Blast.
I think it should be. I think you should F
what's the
tier it
vibe?
for spicy.
When I go to Taco Bell, I just want tacos. I mean, like, I mean, it's probably, like, I imagine Baja Blast tastes like regular Mountain Dew mixed with Sprite. I don't know why,
No,
but I feel like.
Bugs mailing
so
you a
offended.
bottle
all right,
now.
yeah. Get them some Baja Blast
Everyone's
scat.
so offended that I don't have a Taco Bell, like,
Oh my
across
God.
the street.
You need to get some Baja Blast.
Get them Baja Blast.
I mean, okay. And yeah, last time I was there, I was like, I already have Mountain Dew. I don't want to get it. I'm
I
sorry.
my
think
God,
you're telling me. I think you're telling me
Death
Baja
Force
Blast
is-
is bottom tier.
I want my breakfast wrap.
I think you're telling me Baja Blast is unnecessary.
The
and bottom
hype
tier.
is
No,
too
I'm
much.
gonna put it in as a cultural. Okay, no. I actually the cult following of Baja Blast actually does raise it in my eyes
True.
because I also love me a cult. Not only that, but one time someone left a Taco Bell counter with like a little bit of Baja Blast on top of the fire alarm in the little lobby area of my apartment, and then weeks later, someone wrote a little note that said, "All hail the Taco Bell, all hail the Baja Blast."
Oh hell!
And
Oh
then
my God.
2 days later, put a little hot sauce packet there as an offering to the Lord Baja Blast. So based on vibes, I'll let it go into A tier.
Is it
Based
top
on-
A? Top A?
Oh my God.
Let's say bottom of A.
Bottom of A.
Baja Blast, the most folkloric of all of the. Wow, controversial opinion
We got-
in the chat right now.
Oh,
Is
yeah.
very controversial.
The chat is divided over Baja Blast.
I'm crying and Shirley saying, "I love me a cult."
Shirley, we got three more. Where do you put Code Red?
Code Red.
Code Red is pretty solid. Let's put it into BC.
Okay, top.
CB?
Okay, that's good. Yeah.
Top CB.
Yeah, since I've actually tasted it, it should probably go ahead of the other one.
Yeah.
And what about Blue Shock?
I had this one.
Or Blue
let's
Shock,
put it
aka
below
Voltage, aka Voltage.
Red.
Below red. Got a little primary color thing going on.
Yeah.
All right, and here we go.
Right.
Red and blue basically taste the same in my head.
That's the Pepsi challenge. That's the secret. That red and blue are the same taste. Not
Oh my
not
God.
unlike orange, which is the bottom of the list. And Shirley, we're gonna finish it off with Default Dew.
Classic. Dew.
Classic Dew. Dew classic.
I have an incredibly important question because this does change my answer.
It's not diet.
Oh, F tier.
That's what I like to see. I like to see something spicy in these. I like to see something spicy.
Wow.
Diet Dew, S tier. Regular Mountain Dew. I don't know what it is. Probably because it tastes like a pale
God.
ghost imitation in like a horrendous
It's
way.
like bottled
It's like
ectoplasm.
seeing a. It's like because it is so similar to Diet Dew, which, as I have explained, I literally grew up drinking
Yeah.
to the point where it might have stunted my growth a little
This tier list had an arc. Oh, it's stunting your
Wow.
growth. You're 6 feet tall.
Oh my God.
because it tastes like a fey doppelganger changeling child
It's
in
the
a
changeling
bad
of Diet
way.
Dew. Diet Dew was replaced in the crib by a changeling, and that's how we got Mountain Dew.
Oh my
I have
When
never
I drink
seen.
regular
I've never seen the
when I
chat
drink
react so
regular Dew,
like inflammatorily to a tier list. You riled them up.
They are very upset by all of this. And James Allen Bell is very upset that the forbidden flavors, the clear
Look, we
Dew
couldn't
is
do one
not
with
on
32
here.
flavors. I wanted
Yeah,
to keep
it'd
it
be too
simple
many.
with 8, and
Yeah.
I got what I wanted because on a scale
Voodoo,
from
you really are the ones who've actually tried. You don't have Major Melon, you don't have Voodoo, you don't have Ginger Snap. Those are
Ginger Snap.
excellent. Anyway.
No,
continue.
Oh my
this
God.
tier
Yeah,
list did
it's
not go
really
as expected,
good.
and I couldn't be more proud, people.
I'm shocked. This is awesome.
Scale from Liberty Brew
I'm sorry.
to Mountain Dew.
Oh, I interrupted.
How likely were you to be replaced in the crib by a changeling?
Oh my God.
Oh god.
Oh my
Listen,
God.
at least when it's a different color, it's telling me that this is not what I should be expecting. But it's the same damn color and inferior.
Oh my God.
Shirley,
Hey,
this was an incredible tier list. I'm
this
very
is
proud of you.
this is incredible. Hey, chat, you know what to do. GG's for Shirley, ladders for Shirley. Thank you for being our last minute guest. Fantastic host of the shows every once in a while, late night mod sometimes, and a fucking absolute spiciest Mountain Dew opinions on the face of the fucking planet Earth.
Quilts have had on many levels. Making quilts helped me to get a sense of my own space, sense of finding my way, sense of really working my way out of the labyrinth.